Well, it is somewhat hard to believe, but we have had our Ford F-150 Lightning for exactly 1 month now. We picked it up on June 3rd of 2022, and today is July 3rd, 2022, so it has been exactly a month. And we have put 5,000 miles on it in that month. So what we want to do in today's video is tell you a lot of the things we've learned to really love about the truck, and a few things we've learned that we don't really quite love quite so much.
Welcome back to eHermes, your electric adventure travel channel. Please remember to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit that bell button to be notified of our upcoming content.
The first thing is, it's a truck, and it can do all the things that trucks do. You can tow with it, you can haul with it. Now, there are limitations, like there are limitations to everything in life, and when you tow a lot or haul really heavy loads, it does reduce the range, sometimes significantly, but you can do all those things. You can put dirty, filthy, disgusting things in the bed. We'll get to the frunk a little bit later. It has a lot of storage space, so it is a truck, it's a true truck, it's a real truck. You can use it to work. We'll talk about some of the other features that are with it that make it even more valuable, but at its basic self, it's a truck. The next thing is the ride quality. It rides amazingly. It rides like a very luxurious full-size sedan. And that's with no real load in it. I suspect it would ride even a little bit better. The only minor complaint I have is on certain types of interstates in particular, it can get a little bouncy. Maybe the shock absorbers, if they could be tuned a little bit differently. But overall, the ride in it is amazing. Because it is a true full-size truck, it has lots of space in it. There's room in the bed, there's room in the front, there's room in the cab. It's amazing. It's spacious, it's wide open, it seats 5 adults extremely comfortably, and there's just room for storage and people and everything else. It is extremely spacious and roomy. One of the all-time favorites is definitely the Mega Power Frunk. Look at the size of that storage space. We have a full-size cooler in there. We have our large extension cord. We have the mobile connector kit. There's some things behind the cooler. And there is space underneath the cooler for some smaller things. We have our tire repair kit down there and some other odds and ends, some tie-down straps, things like that. But the Mega Power Frunk, again, just like the liftgate, you can do it from the fob, or from a button on the liftgate itself, both up and down. Very nice lighting in there as well. The light is in the front edge here. Let me show you that, in fact. It's not so obvious during the daylight, but the lighting in here is very nice as well. The fact that it's above and shines down, you don't block it very well, and you don't have a lot of shadows. So the lighting in there at night is also a very nice feature. There is even room for 3 small children. But seriously, those kids can't ride up there.
No, they belong up here in 3 rear-facing child safety seats. Despite our best efforts, we were unable to get 3 rear-facing child seats in the Tesla Model Y, even with the 3rd row. However, here in the F-150 Lightning, they fit quite easily with room to spare, and there's even plenty of room between the back of the car seats and the front seat back.
Something I can't really show you, but you'll just have to take my word for it, it is extremely quiet inside. There's little road noise, there's little wind noise. It is by far the most quiet vehicle I've ever ridden in. In fact, when we had the opportunity to be on the Blue Ridge Parkway, we had the sunroof open, and while we were driving 40 or 50 miles an hour, we could actually hear the birds singing in the trees. I've never really experienced that before. It's not quite so quiet on a gravel road because the tires do crunch the gravel, but on a paved road at medium to low speeds, it is amazingly quiet and wonderful to be in nature with. This particular truck is the Antimatter Blue is the name of the color, and I think it is gorgeous. It is rich in color. It's a very dark blue. It accents the lightning very well, I believe, on the rear of the bed, and it just goes very well with the tires and the wheels. I just think it's a gorgeous vehicle. The vehicle itself has a built-in Wi-Fi hotspot, which I have found to be very useful. In fact, I went through, they give you a free trial. I don't know how much data they give you. I think it's 30 days and so much data, and I went through the data in like 2 days because I was editing, uploading, and downloading video clips and full videos so it went very fast. But when I was out in some pretty remote areas, as long as there is internet service available, it acts as a hotspot and allows me to connect my laptop and my phone to it so that I can transfer video back and forth. I plan to do a separate entire video about charging and the best way to charge, especially at Electrify America charging station. But the one thing I want to talk about today that we have found that I found to be a very pleasant surprise is, while it does not charge all that fast at peak speed like Kia EV6 or a Hyundai Ioniq 5 that are up almost 350 kilowatts, it does charge very consistently from 0 to 70 and then 80, and then after 80 it just drops off a cliff. But it charges, I've had it up over 160 kilowatts at over 50% state of charge, which is much better than the Tesla does. Even though the Tesla charges at 250 kilowatts peak speed, when the curve on that is very bell-shaped, where this is up over, has a little step at 70 to 80 and then it drops down. So over a long trip, I think it'll charge competitively with the Tesla, and we're going to test that out because one of our next videos is going to be a race, a charging race between the F-150 Lightning and the Tesla Model Y long range. The acceleration in the vehicle is amazing. It's not that big of a deal to me, honestly. It is nice when you're passing because it's not just from 0. In fact, it's better, and I think it's more usable when you're at speed. Say you're going 50 miles an hour, you want to pass a vehicle, you don't have a lot of space, you step on it, the thing just takes off. In fact, more than once, I have actually squealed the tires when I've been going 20, 30 miles an hour and stepped down on the accelerator hard. So the acceleration and the power is amazing. It's not that great a deal to me. You don't use it that often. In fact, when you do, it kind of, well, squealing the tires is not great for the tires, and it uses a lot of range. So I don't do it very often, but when you do need to do it, it is certainly nice to have. We certainly enjoy and appreciate the power tailgate. Power down when your hands are full. Now, they don't have, that I know of, the thing where you wave your feet underneath. You do have to use either the fob or the button on the liftgate. But not only does it power down, it also powers up. And I say it can be done either from the fob or from the tailgate itself. Both down and up. Hopefully we never have need of it, but it is nice to know that it does have a full-size spare tire. If we are out in the woods in the middle of nowhere, we pop a tire, it's nice to know we can take this one down, swap it out, and get moving right away again. A feature that we don't hear all that much about, and I suspect that's probably because most people that review these vehicles have them for a few hours or a day or two. They don't really live with them and use them. But the Pro Power Onboard, to me, is incredible. You have 4 20-amp outlets here in the bed, and a 30-amp 240-volt outlet. You can run a welder, a large air compressor, you can charge a Tesla, several other things you can do with that. So we have the 4 outlets here, plus the high voltage one. They're illuminated with some lighting, so at night you can see them. We have 4 more outlets here in the front. And of course, we also have a USB-A and a USB-C outlet here in the front. These outlets are on a separate circuit from the ones in the bed of the truck, so you will not overload things if you plug things into all the outlets at once. As you can see, the front circuit is 2400 watts, the rear circuit is 3600 watts, and the cab circuit is also 3600 watts. The cab only, I believe, has 2 outlets, one in the front seat, one in the back seat, so you can plug quite a bit into those two. But so you have 9600 watts of available power, which is an awful lot of power. That's a really good sized generator. And like I say, with that one in the bed being 240 volts at 30 amps, you could run some pretty heavy equipment off of it. Anyone who's ever driven a Tesla knows that the stated range is never accurate. The percentage generally is accurate, as it is on here, but the guessometer range, the stated range, generally on a Tesla is woefully over-optimistic. But on the F-150 Lightning, they compensate for that by your most recent driving. They do that a little bit with the Tesla too, but not nearly as well. And the stated range is actually a very conservative, I have found, range. And as long as you're driving in a manner consistent with how you've been driving recently, it is extremely accurate. Now you can see that I've been driving at 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour. I've been driving fairly slowly on some rural areas. So that would give you more than the EPA indicated range of 320 miles. But at 54%
165 miles of range. Do the math, it's about a little over 300 miles of range because I've been driving so conservatively. And it's always a little bit lagging, and like I say, the indicated range is also conservative. It's a little thing, but I like to listen to ball games on the radio, and this has an AM radio. The Tesla does not. Again, you will kind of have to take my word for it, but it has an excellent sound system. The backup camera is nice, but I really like this 360-degree bird's eye view. So you'll see, for instance, this is a federal route, not an interstate highway, but yet the Blue Cruise hands-free still works on this road. And we've been on several of these federal routes that are not interstates, but they are laid out like interstates, and it has always worked for us. Now, when it's just limited access highway with cross traffic, it does not work. So here we have it. We have the hands-free. It's really very relaxing on a long drive because I know it seems like your hands have to be somewhere. They might as well be on the wheel. That's what I used to think before we had this. But it is so nice. You can change positions. You can do so many different things. I will say, though, that it is a stern taskmaster. And if you do not keep your eyes on that road every 5 seconds, it will give you warnings and then eventually shut off. You get a visual warning first, then a visual and audible. Then it kind of shuts off. Then it starts jerking the car really hard. Like, I mean, it really gets your attention.
The last positive feature that we want to talk about before we move on to some things that we love just a little bit less is the exterior lighting on this. As you can see, when I have the mirror lights on and the cargo lights on, it lights up not only the truck, but the surrounding area pretty well. It's not quite dark, but it's pretty close to pitch dark. And you can see how bright this is. In the previous video where we did the boondock camping, you can see in the deep dark woods how bright it really is. But this exterior lighting is quite nice. And as you approach the vehicle, the lights come on to show you safe passage to the doors for a little sense of security. I think the light bar in this case in the front looks really nice when it's on at night. The puddle lights illuminate the area very well as you approach the doors. The last little really nice lighting feature is when you go to plug into the charge port, there's a little LED light up there that lights up the charge port. Makes it much easier to plug in. Now for the things we love, not quite so much.
While I don't mind having to keep my hands on the wheel, and I appreciate the safety implications of that, I don't like the fact that it's a rotational force that you have to use. On several occasions, I've knocked it out of the lane centering because the force I've applied has been too great. Right now my hands are both on the wheel, but I'm not really turning it, so I'm getting this warning and now it's shutting me off. While I really enjoy the Blue Cruise 360 2.0 hands-free, as mentioned earlier, the regular lane centering / adaptive cruise control is not as good as what's on the Tesla. I have almost rear-ended people because it does not always stop in time, particularly when you're going at highway speed. You come maybe over a hill to a traffic light where there's cars stopped. While it sees them, and in fact it warns you to stop, it does not brake sufficiently to avoid collision on its own. And I've had to use the brake on several occasions to make sure that doesn't happen. While I like the truck and everything about it is functional, I really do not think the technology in it is on par with Tesla. In keeping with that theme, the navigation is particularly of lesser quality, I would say. I can say just about any place and the Tesla will find it. On here I get a lot of, I can't find that, I don't know what you're saying. It's just not as intuitive or as good. So as much as I like the Pro Power on board, I do think it's odd and unfortunate that you actually have to have the truck powered on and able to use it. It does not work in the accessory mode. If I power on, then I can use it. But if I power off, it goes away. Yes, even in accessory, When you try to turn it on, it says the vehicle must be running. Well, I'm not sure what that means, an electric vehicle. Must be running to supply power to the outlets. So I push the brake and start it. Now the power is available to me.
So that's a quick review of the Ford F-150 Lightning, the things we love about it, the things we love not so much, and I have to say the things we love way outweigh the things we love not so much. In fact, the things we love not so much are kind of nitpicky. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please click that like button. Definitely subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified of our upcoming content. Thank you.